I saw the gun aimed at her. My body moved before my brain could think. 2 bullets tore through me. The pain was unbearable. I felt my kidney rupture. Blood filled my mouth. But she was safe. My daughter's future was secure. I would do it all again. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Rain hammered against the hospital window as I pressed my hand against the bandage wrapped around my torso. The doctors said I was lucky to be alive. Lucky. That word felt like a cruel joke when I could barely stand without feeling like my insides were on fire. But when I looked at her through the glass of her private room, sleeping peacefully while machines beeped softly around her bed, I knew I would do it all again. My name is David Chen, and I am a single father to the most beautiful 7-year-old girl in the world. Her name is Lily, and she is my entire universe. 3 years ago, my wife Sarah died in a car accident, leaving me alone to raise our daughter. Life became a daily battle to keep food on the table and a roof over our heads. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, doing whatever it took to make sure Lily had what she needed. 6 months ago, everything changed when I got hired as a security guard at Morrison Industries. The pay was better than anything I had ever made, and the health insurance meant I could finally take Lily to the dentist without worrying about the bill. I worked the night shift, which was hard because it meant less time with my daughter, but my neighbor Mrs. Rodriguez was kind enough to watch her while I worked. The CEO of Morrison Industries was a woman named Elena Morrison, 38 years old, brilliant, and completely dedicated to her company. She had built Morrison Industries from nothing into a multi-million-dollar tech company in just 10 years. Everyone respected her, but she had enemies too. Success always brings jealousy, and in her case, it brought something much worse. It started 3 months ago with threatening letters. Someone wanted her dead, wanted to destroy everything she had built. The police were involved, but they could not do much with anonymous threats. That was when the company decided to increase her security. As one of the newer guards, I never expected to be chosen for her personal protection detail, but the head of security, Marcus Thompson, saw something in me. He said I had the eyes of a man who understood loss and would do anything to protect what mattered. He was right. Elena Morrison was not what I expected. She was tough, demanding, and worked 18-hour days without complaint. But I also saw the loneliness in her eyes, the same loneliness I saw in my own mirror every morning. She had no family, no children, no one waiting for her at home. Her company was her life, and that made her vulnerable in ways she did not even realize. The first time we really talked was late one night when she was working in her office. I was stationed outside her door, and she came out around midnight looking exhausted. "Do you have children?" she asked me suddenly. I was surprised. She had never asked me anything personal before. "Yes, ma'am. A daughter. She's 7. What's her name?" "Lily." She smiled, and for a moment, the tough CEO facade cracked. "That's a beautiful name. You must miss her when you're here at night." "Every second," I admitted. "But I do this for her. To give her a better life." She nodded slowly. "I understand. I lost my parents when I was young. I built this company to honor their memory, to prove that their sacrifices were not in vain. We do what we must for the people we love, even when they are no longer with us." After that night, something shifted between us. She was still my boss, and I was still her employee, but there was a mutual understanding. We were both fighting our own battles, carrying our own pain, trying to build something meaningful from the ashes of our losses. The threats escalated 2 months ago. Someone broke into her home while she was at a business dinner. Nothing was stolen, but a message was spray-painted on her bedroom wall: "You took everything from me. Now I'll take everything from you." The police increased their patrols, and the company hired more security. I started working longer hours, sometimes pulling double shifts. Mrs. Rodriguez complained that I was working too much, that Lily missed me. I knew she was right, but I also knew that Elena's life was in real danger. I could not walk away from someone who needed protection, not when I had the power to help. "Why do you care so much?" Elena asked me one night as I walked her to her car. "You could work regular hours like the other guards. You have a daughter to go home to." "Because I know what it's like to lose someone," I said quietly. "My wife died 3 years ago. I was not there to protect her. I was working across town when it happened. If I could have done something, anything, I would have. I will not let that happen again. Not if I can prevent it." She looked at me with an expression I could not quite read. "I'm sorry about your wife. But David, you cannot save everyone. You cannot carry that guilt forever." "Maybe not," I agreed. "But I can do my job. I can keep you safe." What I did not tell her was that Lily had been asking about her. My daughter was curious about the woman I spent so much time protecting. I had shown her a picture from the company website, and Lily had declared that Elena looked like a princess from her storybooks. She made me promise to tell the princess lady that she was very brave and that we were protecting her. Children have a way of seeing the world so simply, so purely. To Lily, I was a knight protecting a princess. The reality was far more complicated and dangerous, but I loved my daughter's innocence. I wanted to preserve it for as long as possible. The day everything changed started like any other. It was a Tuesday morning, and I was finishing my night shift. Elena had an important meeting with potential investors at a downtown restaurant. The head of security decided that I should accompany her, along with 2 other guards. We arrived at the restaurant early to check the premises. Everything seemed secure. The meeting went well. The investors were impressed, and Elena was in a good mood as we left the restaurant. That was when I saw him. A man in a dark jacket, standing across the street, his hand inside his coat. His eyes were locked on Elena with an intensity that made my blood run cold. I had been in security long enough to recognize that look. It was the look of someone who had already decided to pull the trigger. Time slowed down. I saw his hand emerge from his jacket, saw the glint of metal, saw his arm rise. My body moved before my brain could process what was happening. I threw myself in front of Elena, wrapping my arms around her and pulling her down just as the first shot rang out. The bullet hit me in the left side, just below my ribs. The pain was instant and overwhelming, like someone had shoved a red-hot poker through my body. But I did not let go of Elena. I covered her body with mine, shielding her as the second shot came. This one hit me higher, in the back, near my right kidney. The impact drove the air from my lungs, and I felt something inside me tear. Blood filled my mouth, and the world started to spin. The other guards returned fire, and I heard screams and running footsteps. Someone was shouting into a radio, calling for an ambulance. Elena was crying, trying to push me off her, but I could not move. My body was not responding anymore. "David. Oh God, David, stay with me." Her voice sounded far away, like she was calling to me from the bottom of a well. I wanted to tell her I was okay, that she was safe now, but I could not form the words. My vision was getting dark around the edges. The last thing I remember before everything went black was thinking about Lily. Who would take care of her if I died? Who would read her bedtime stories and make her pancakes on Saturday mornings? I woke up 2 days later in the hospital. The first face I saw was Mrs. Rodriguez, sitting in a chair beside my bed with Lily sleeping in her lap. My daughter's face was tear-stained, and my neighbor looked exhausted. "David," Mrs. Rodriguez whispered, trying not to wake Lily. "Thank God. The doctors said you might not make it." My throat was dry, and my entire body felt like it had been hit by a truck. "Lily? She's okay. She's been so worried about you. We both have. Elena? She's alive because of you. You saved her life, David. Both bullets would have hit her if you had not thrown yourself in front of her." I tried to sit up, but pain exploded through my torso. A nurse rushed in and gently pushed me back down. "Mr. Chen, please do not move. You have been through major surgery. You lost your right kidney, and the bullet near your ribs caused significant damage. You need to rest." Lost my kidney. The words echoed in my head. I had lost a part of myself saving Elena Morrison. But when I looked at my daughter sleeping peacefully, her small hand clutching Mrs. Rodriguez's shirt, I knew I would make the same choice again. Lily woke up a few minutes later. When she saw I was awake, her eyes filled with tears. "Daddy." "Hey, sweetheart," I managed to say, my voice rough. "I'm okay." "You got hurt protecting the princess lady," she said, crawling carefully onto the bed to hug me. I winced but did not push her away. "Mrs. Rodriguez said you were very brave." "I just did my job, honey." "She came to see you," Lily said excitedly. "The princess lady. She was crying. She said you were a hero." Before I could respond, there was a soft knock on the door. Elena Morrison stood in the doorway, looking nothing like the powerful CEO I was used to seeing. Her eyes were red, her face pale, and she was holding a bouquet of flowers. She looked broken. "David," she said softly. "I hope I am not intruding. I can come back later." "It's okay," I said. Lily looked at her with wide eyes, then smiled. "Are you the princess lady?" my daughter asked. Elena looked confused for a moment, then glanced at me. I felt my face heat up despite the pain. "My daughter thinks you look like a princess from her storybooks." To my surprise, Elena laughed, though tears were streaming down her face. "Well, if I am a princess, then your daddy is definitely a knight. He saved my life, Lily." She walked into the room and set the flowers on the table beside my bed. Then she did something that shocked everyone. She knelt down beside my bed and took my hand in both of hers. "I am so sorry," she whispered. "This is my fault. You lost your kidney because of me. You almost died because of me." "No," I said firmly, squeezing her hand. "This is not your fault. The man who shot me is the one to blame. You did not ask for any of this. But you have a daughter. You have a life. And you risked everything for me. Because your life matters too," I said. "Because everyone deserves to be protected. Because I could not live with myself if I had not acted." She broke down then, sobbing quietly while holding my hand. Mrs. Rodriguez gently took Lily out of the room to give us privacy. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Finally, Elena looked up at me with determination in her eyes. "I am going to take care of you," she said. "All your medical bills, everything. And I am setting up a trust fund for Lily. You will never have to worry about money again. You don't have to do that." "Yes, I do. You gave me my life back, David. Let me give you and your daughter security. Please." I was too tired to argue. Over the next few days, as I slowly recovered, Elena visited every day. She brought books for me to read, toys for Lily, and spent hours just sitting with us, talking about everything and nothing. I learned that she had been engaged once, years ago, but her fiancé had left her when she refused to give up her company to start a family. She had been alone ever since, pouring all her energy into Morrison Industries. I thought the company was enough, she admitted one afternoon while Lily colored pictures at the foot of my bed. I thought success would fill the emptiness. But when you threw yourself in front of those bullets, when I thought you were going to die because of me, I realized how alone I really am. You have a daughter who loves you more than anything. I have a company that would replace me within a week if I died." "That's not true," I said. "Your employees respect you. Your work has changed people's lives." "But at what cost?" she asked quietly. "I sacrificed everything for success. I have no one to come home to, no one who would cry for me the way Lily cried for you. Lily looked up from her coloring. I would cry for you, she said seriously. You're nice. And you make Daddy smile. Elena's eyes filled with tears again. She reached out and gently touched Lily's cheek. You are a very special girl, Lily. Your father is lucky to have you. The police caught the shooter 3 days later. His name was Richard Morrison, Elena's cousin. He blamed her for his father's death years ago, claimed that she had stolen the company that should have been his inheritance. He had spent years planning his revenge, watching her, waiting for the right moment. His hatred had consumed him completely. When Elena found out, she was devastated. My own family, she whispered when she told me. My own blood wanted me dead. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love us hurt us the most, I said, thinking about Sarah's parents who had blamed me for their daughter's death, who had tried to take Lily away from me. But that does not define us. You are not responsible for his choices. She nodded, but I could see the guilt in her eyes. She felt responsible for what had happened to me, no matter how many times I told her it was not her fault. I spent 3 weeks in the hospital. The doctors said I was healing well, but I would need months of physical therapy before I could return to work. Elena insisted on paying for everything, including a private nurse to help me at home. She also did something that shocked me. She gave me a generous settlement and told me I never had to work again if I did not want to. I want you to be there for Lily, she said. I want you to have the time with her that you have been sacrificing to work so many hours. You deserve that, David. Both of you deserve that. I did not know what to say. Financial security had been a dream that seemed impossible. Now it was a reality because I had made the split-second decision to step in front of 2 bullets. But the story does not end there. As I recovered at home, Elena continued to visit us regularly. At first, I thought it was guilt driving her, but gradually I realized it was something else. She was lonely, and we had become her family. Lily adored her, and Elena blossomed under my daughter's unconditional affection. She brought presents, helped with homework, and even learned to braid Lily's hair. You are a natural, I told her one evening as we sat on my couch watching Lily play with the dollhouse Elena had bought her. I never thought I could have this, Elena said softly. I convinced myself that I was not meant for family, for domestic happiness. But being here with you and Lily, I realize what I have been missing. It's not too late, I said. You are still young. You could still have all of this. She looked at me with an expression that made my heart skip. What if I already have? Before I could respond, Lily called out, Elena, come play with me. Elena smiled and went to sit on the floor with my daughter. I watched them together, and something shifted in my chest. This woman, this CEO who had seemed so untouchable and distant, was sitting on my living room floor playing dolls with my daughter and laughing like a child herself. Over the next few months, Elena became a regular part of our lives. She started working shorter hours, delegating more responsibilities to her team. She joined us for dinner, for movie nights, for trips to the park. Lily started calling her Aunt Elena, and the title made Elena cry happy tears. One evening, after Lily had gone to bed, Elena and I sat on the back porch watching the sunset. We had not talked about what was happening between us, but the air was charged with unspoken feelings. David, she said finally. I need to tell you something. My heart started racing. Okay. When you took those bullets for me, you did not just save my life. You woke me up. You showed me what real courage looks like, what real love looks like. You sacrificed your body, your health, for someone you barely knew because you believed my life had value. Nobody has ever done anything like that for me. I did what anyone would do, I said, though we both knew that was not true. No, she said firmly. Most people would have hesitated. Most people would have thought about themselves first. But you did not even pause. You just acted. And in that moment, you changed everything. She took my hand, and I let her. Her touch sent electricity through me. I have fallen in love with you, David. I have fallen in love with your courage, your kindness, and the way you love your daughter. I have fallen in love with the life you have built from tragedy and pain. I know this might be inappropriate. I know I am your former employer, and you might not feel the same way, but I needed to tell you. You deserve to know. My throat was tight. I had not allowed myself to think about love since Sarah died. I had convinced myself that my heart belonged to her memory and that it would be a betrayal to love someone else. But sitting there with Elena, feeling her hand in mine, I realized that Sarah would want me to be happy. She would want Lily to have a mother figure, someone who loved her as much as I did. I love you too, I said, and the words felt like a dam breaking inside me. I think I have been falling in love with you for months, but I was too scared to admit it. Too scared to let myself feel again. She leaned in and kissed me softly. It was gentle, tentative, like we were both afraid the moment might shatter. When we pulled apart, she was crying again. I promise I will love Lily like she is my own, Elena whispered. I promise I will never make you choose between us. I promise I will spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of what you did for me. You already are, I said, pulling her close. You already are. We sat there holding each other as the sun disappeared below the horizon. Inside the house, Lily was sleeping peacefully, safe and loved. For the first time in 3 years, I felt whole again. I felt like the broken pieces of my heart were finally healing. Elena and I took things slowly. We wanted to make sure Lily was comfortable with the changes in our relationship. But my daughter was thrilled. She had been hoping we would fall in love since the day Elena first visited me in the hospital. I told you she was a princess, Lily said smugly when we told her we were dating. And princesses always fall in love with the brave knights. 6 months later, Elena proposed to me. She did it at the hospital where I had been treated, in the cafeteria where she had spent countless hours worrying about whether I would survive. She got down on one knee in front of dozens of doctors and nurses and asked me to marry her. You gave me my life back, she said, holding up a simple gold ring. Let me spend the rest of it loving you and Lily. Let me be part of your family. Marry me, David. I said yes through tears. Lily, who had been in on the plan, jumped up and down screaming with joy. The entire cafeteria erupted in applause. We got married 3 months later in a small ceremony with just close friends and family. Lily was our flower girl, wearing a white dress that made her look like the princess she always claimed Elena to be. Mrs. Rodriguez cried through the entire ceremony. The head of security, Marcus Thompson, walked Elena down the aisle since she had no family of her own. As I watched her walk toward me, I thought about that day outside the restaurant. I thought about the pain, the fear, the moment I was certain I was going to die. I thought about waking up in the hospital missing a kidney but gaining something far more valuable, a second chance at love. Elena had been right. When I stepped in front of those bullets, I did not just save her life. I saved my own. I woke myself up from the grief that had been slowly suffocating me. I opened my heart to the possibility that I could love again, that I could build a new family without betraying the memory of the one I had lost. Sarah would have loved Elena. She would have been grateful that someone so kind and generous had come into Lily's life. She would have wanted us to be happy. The years that followed were the best of my life. Elena officially adopted Lily, who now had 2 parents who loved her beyond measure. We had 2 more children, a boy and a girl, and Lily became the most devoted big sister imaginable. Elena scaled back her work at Morrison Industries, promoting several talented employees to senior positions so she could spend more time with our family. I never went back to security work. Instead, I started a foundation to help single parents who were struggling financially. Elena funded it generously, and we helped hundreds of families get back on their feet. It became my life's work, my way of honoring the struggle I had gone through and the miracle that had pulled me out of it. My missing kidney sometimes ached, especially when it rained. The scars on my body were permanent reminders of that terrible day. But I never regretted it. Not for a single second. Those bullets had taken part of my body, but they had given me back my soul. 10 years after the shooting, on the anniversary of the day that changed everything, Elena and I returned to the spot where it had happened. The restaurant was still there, though under new management. We stood on the sidewalk holding hands while our children played in a nearby park with Mrs. Rodriguez watching them. Do you ever think about what your life would be like if it had not happened? Elena asked. Sometimes, I admitted. I would probably still be working 3 jobs, barely seeing Lily, struggling to make ends meet. I would probably be alone. I would definitely be alone, Elena said. Probably dead by now, either from another attempt on my life or from working myself into an early grave. That bullet was meant for me, David. You did not just save my life that day. You gave me a life worth living. You did the same for me, I said, pulling her close. You taught me that it is okay to love again. That moving forward does not mean forgetting the past. We stood there for a long time, remembering the pain and celebrating the joy that had come from it. Life is strange that way. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes. Sometimes losing a part of yourself means gaining everything you never knew you needed. As we walked back to our children, I thought about that moment when I saw the gun, when I made the split-second decision to throw myself in front of Elena. I thought about the pain, the fear, the darkness that followed. But I also thought about Lily's laughter, Elena's love, and the family we had built together. I never thought protecting her would cost me everything I had left. But I was wrong. It did not cost me everything. It gave me everything. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. 20 years had passed since that fateful day. Our children had grown into remarkable young adults. Lily was now 27, working as a doctor at the same hospital where I had fought for my life. She had told me once that seeing me in that hospital bed, watching the nurses and doctors save me, had inspired her to pursue medicine. Every time I visited her at work, my heart swelled with pride. Our son, Michael, was 19 and studying engineering. He had Elena's brilliant mind and my protective nature. Our youngest daughter, Sarah, named after my first wife, was 16 and wanted to be a teacher. Elena often said that Sarah had the biggest heart of anyone she had ever known. Life had been kind to us. The foundation I started had helped over 2,000 single parents get back on their feet. We had opened branches in 5 cities, and Elena had stepped down as CEO of Morrison Industries to work with me full-time at the foundation. She said it was the most fulfilling work she had ever done. One evening, as we sat together on our porch watching another sunset, Elena turned to me with tears in her eyes. "What's wrong?" I asked, concerned. "Nothing's wrong," she said, smiling through her tears. "I was just thinking about Richard, about how his hatred nearly destroyed both of us. But instead, his actions brought us together. He wanted to take everything from me, but he ended up giving me everything I never knew I needed. Do you ever forgive him?" I asked. It was a question we had never really discussed. She was quiet for a long moment. "I forgave him years ago. Not because what he did was okay, but because holding on to that anger would have poisoned everything beautiful we built. He spent his life consumed by revenge, and it destroyed him. I refused to let it destroy me too." I squeezed her hand. "You are the strongest person I know." "No," she said softly. "You are. You took 2 bullets for someone you barely knew. You lost a kidney, nearly lost your life, and never once complained about it. You built a beautiful life from tragedy, not once but twice. That is real strength, David." The next morning, I woke up to find Lily sitting in our kitchen, still in her scrubs from the night shift. She looked exhausted but happy. "Hey, Dad," she said, hugging me. "I just finished a 12-hour shift and wanted to stop by before going home." "You work too hard," I told her, making her coffee. "I learned from the best," she replied with a smile. "Dad, I need to tell you something. I am getting married." My heart jumped. What? When? To who? She laughed at my reaction. His name is James. He is a physical therapist at the hospital. We have been dating for 2 years. I wanted to wait until I was sure before telling you. 2 years? I said, pretending to be hurt. You kept this secret for 2 years. I wanted to be certain, she said. After watching you and Elena, after seeing what real love looks like, I did not want to settle for anything less. And James is it, Dad. He is kind, patient, and he loves me the way you love Elena. Tears filled my eyes. Then I am happy for you, sweetheart. When do I get to meet this James officially? How about dinner this Sunday? The whole family? That Sunday dinner was one of the most beautiful nights of my life. James was everything Lily said he was. He was respectful, kind, and the way he looked at my daughter reminded me of how I looked at Elena. During dinner, he shared that he had lost his mother to cancer when he was young, and watching Lily save lives every day had made him fall in love with her even more deeply. She has your heart, Mr. Chen, James said to me. She cares about people the way you do. That is what first drew me to her. After dinner, as everyone was talking and laughing, Elena pulled me aside. Can you believe our baby is getting married? She whispered. No, I admitted. It feels like yesterday that she was 7 years old, calling you the princess lady. Elena laughed, wiping tears from her eyes. Time moves so fast. But I am grateful for every moment. Grateful that you took those bullets, grateful that we found each other, grateful for this beautiful family we built. Me too, I said, pulling her close. The wedding happened 6 months later. It was a beautiful outdoor ceremony, and as I walked Lily down the aisle, I thought about everything that had led to this moment. The pain, the sacrifice, the love that grew from tragedy. Lily had grown up watching Elena and me build a life together, and now she was starting her own journey. During the reception, Lily asked me to dance. As we swayed to the music, she looked up at me with tears in her eyes. Thank you, Dad, she whispered. For what? For everything. For being brave that day. For bringing Elena into our lives. For showing me what real love and sacrifice look like. For teaching me that even when life breaks us, we can build something beautiful from the pieces. I could not speak. I just held my daughter close, feeling the weight of her words settle into my heart. Later that night, as Elena and I drove home, I thought about the journey we had taken. From that terrible day outside the restaurant to this beautiful evening celebrating our daughter's wedding. Every scar, every moment of pain, every tear had been worth it. What are you thinking about? Elena asked, noticing my silence. I am thinking about how strange life is, I said. How one moment can change everything. How one decision can ripple out and affect so many lives. Do you ever wish you had not stepped in front of those bullets? She asked quietly. I looked at her, at this woman who had become my everything, and smiled. Not for a single second. That moment gave me you, gave Lily a mother, gave us this beautiful family. It gave me purpose and meaning. It taught me that love is always worth the sacrifice. She leaned over and kissed my cheek. You gave me a life worth living, David Chen. You gave me everything. As we pulled into our driveway, I looked up at the stars and thought about Sarah, my first wife. I liked to think she was up there somewhere, smiling down at us, happy that Lily had grown into such an amazing woman, happy that I had found love again. The missing kidney still ached sometimes, especially on cold nights. The scars on my body were faded but still visible. But they were badges of honor now, reminders of the day that changed everything. The day I chose love over fear, sacrifice over safety, and in doing so, found everything I never knew I was looking for. I never thought protecting her would cost me everything I had left. But the truth was, it had given me everything I never dreamed possible. A second chance at love, a beautiful family, and a purpose that extended far beyond myself. And as I held Elena's hand walking into our home, I knew without a doubt that I would make the same choice again. Because love, real love, is always worth fighting for. Always worth protecting. Always worth the sacrifice.